What's up? It's your girl Tree, the LPC, here for another episode of Self-Aware and F'd Up. So today I'm going to be talking about the impact of being in the prison system on mental health. I had someone reach out to me on IG asking me about doing a video and speaking on the long-term impacts of mental health on someone being incarcerated or institutionalized. This is something that is really near and dear to my heart. I grew up in a really rough part of LaGrange, and a lot of the people that I grew up with are either currently in prison or have been in prison at some point throughout their lives. And when they come back home, they are not the same. They are not okay. Even though they may have also been experiencing problems with mental health prior to going into the system, a lot of them, when they're inside, the things that they see, the things that they experience, being away from their family for years at a time, not being able to talk to or see their children, not being able to watch them grow up, that has long-term psychiatric impacts on people who are in the prison system. And not only that, it also impacts their family members. If you have a loved one who is locked up, I am sure that there is a lot of emotional turmoil that you go through. You have to hear the things that they experience on the inside while still trying to maintain yourself on the outside and continuing to fight on and press on and take care of kids whose mother or father is incarcerated. And you're also still having to take care of yourself. So my heart goes out to anyone who is impacted by it. I made a video previously about, a lot of rappers are now trying to get involved in the political game and meeting with the president and presidential candidates talking about prison reform. And even though I don't support a lot of these rappers who are actually making some of these decisions, and I don't even like Kim Kardashian on a personal level, but what I can get behind is her involvement in helping get some of these men who have been incarcerated for non-violent offenses, getting them out. And hopefully after she's helped get them out, that they've been able to link them to appropriate mental health services. So here's the thing about the prison system and mental health. Most prisons do have counseling services set up. The problem is a lot of them do not have qualified counselors. A lot of them, even if they have qualified counselors, they don't have enough of them to really be able to dig into the core issues that, one, landed a lot of people who are incarcerated into the prison system, and two, they're spread so thin that it's impossible to really be able to give the time and attention that people on the outside who go to therapy can really give to their client base. So I think that it's important for us to really just kind of look at the fact that if you have a loved one in prison, you need to be there to support them, because not only are they dealing with just being isolated from you, they're dealing with seeing violence on the inside. They're dealing with loneliness. A lot of them are dealing with depression, even within the prison system. Even though a lot of them may not be getting getting appropriate therapy, a lot of them are being prescribed medications without psychotherapy, and those medications can cause them to have problems with suicidal thoughts. I don't know if you guys are familiar with, but suicide within prison is very common. It's very common for someone who has never experienced depression or suicidal thoughts to end up in the prison system and end up taking their lives. I don't really have necessarily the most realistic picture of what it is like to work in the prison system or to be in the prison system. I do have friends who have been impacted by it, but personally, my biggest connection to it is watching the show Oz. And if it's anything remotely like what I saw watching Oz or Orange is the New Black, which of course is a comedy, and it is a lower level prison, except for the last 2 seasons, which was at the max level prison, but it's still comedy. But the thing is, I don't fully understand the prison, what happens to them. But what I can say from working with people who have been released from the prison system is integrating back into society is really difficult. A lot of them do not know how to get out of that institutionalized mindset. A lot of them are not familiar with they don't have the coping skills to really transition from being in a system where I'm told when I need to wake up, I'm told when I'm supposed to go to sleep, I'm told when I'm supposed to go to get lunch, I'm told when I'm supposed to go out in the yard to exercise, I'm told when I'm supposed to do everything. I'm provided with clothes. Yes, I can go to the commissary and buy certain things. I may have an illegal cell phone. I may have these different things that make me feel like I'm connected to the outside world. But when they get on the outside world, they don't really have the proper tools to survive. So here's what I suggest for anyone who who is incarcerated and is in need of mental health services. I suggest that you guys write to your local congressman, write and reach out to the people at the local prison systems. Make sure that if there is a mental health counselor there in a prison, make sure you're talking to your loved one and encouraging them to talk to someone about what they're dealing with, because it can feel like you're alone, and you don't want your loved ones to feel like they're out there on an island by themselves. Yes, some of them have made choices that led to them being there, and some of them are just victims of racism and oppression in the system that was not built for Black people to begin with. But I want you to make sure that you advocate for yourself. People are always talking about voting when it comes to presidential elections, but we really need to be voting at the local level, because that's how we really can begin to make a difference in this whole process. We're not going to do it at the White House, because federal law is one thing. Yes, if you violate a federal law, you are going to end up in a federal prison system. But if you do things at the local level, there are certain things that are outside of the president's control. And it doesn't matter if Donald J. Trump or if Joe Biden is in the office. That's not going to matter when it comes to your individual loved one in your county, city, or state. So I really want you guys to encourage you guys, one, vote. Make sure you're voting in every election, not just this upcoming election. And two, make sure that you advocate for your people. There are and there should be counselors set up at every prison. And if there is not one set up there in the system that your loved one is in, reach out to your local lawmakers. Advocate for them to make sure that they're hiring enough counselors to provide the mental health services that are necessary within the prison system. And if you're on the outside and you're caring for a loved one who is in the system, make sure that you're getting help too. It is hard to be there to support someone and trying to pour from an empty cup. It's impossible for you to be able to be the backbone if you're not getting the support that you need. Yes, you may be getting it from your friends, you may be getting it from your family members, but sometimes that weight is a little bit too much to put on them. So I encourage you to make sure that you have someone that you can talk to outside of your family and friend group to help support you through what you're experiencing with your loved ones. When we talk about the prison system, yes, we do have people who are there because they've committed violent crimes, and they do need to be there to make sure that they're getting rehabilitated. But if they're not actually doing anything towards rehabilitation, then they're really just there. They're there for what? I don't know what they're doing. I have no clue. But I can tell you that if counseling and rehabilitation is not a part of their whole thing while they're there, they're going to come home without the correct tools to be able to function in society. One thing I also want to shed a little bit of light on is a lot of times people who need to be diverted to mental health facilities are incarcerated, more so within the African American community. But I've encountered so many people working in the mental health field, especially working in the hospital settings, who come to the ER, and it's very clear, they just got released from jail and now they're in the ER, and it's very clear that they were not treated for their mental health conditions while they were inpatient. I've seen multiple people come in and it's like, oh, well, they took me off of my prescription medications when I was in jail or when I was in prison, and so now I don't have my medications, and so now I'm hearing voices, I'm seeing things, and I want to hurt people because I'm not being properly medicated. And I get it. The prison system is run over. There are not enough people there to provide the services. But that won't change unless we speak up, unless we speak with our vote, speak with letters to our local congressmen, speak with letters to our local politicians in general. Things will not change unless we address it, because our people are being incarcerated in much larger numbers than people from other cultural and socioeconomic backgrounds. We have to do something. We have to take action. This is a call to action. Yes, there are there are long-term impacts on prison and being institutionalized of both of those things. But the thing is, we need to be able to stop it on the front end by our policy making, our legislation at the local level, in order for us to really be able to make a difference. I hope that I addressed some of the things that you guys are wanting me to share in this particular video. If you guys want to know more information, please feel free to send me an inbox. I will definitely respond to it. I try to respond to all messages within 24 business hours. Most of you guys know I do, I work full time. I see clients as well. So it's definitely sometimes hard to get through all the messages, but I do want you guys to keep writing, keep commenting, keep subscribing, so that I can continue to make videos to shed light on things that are very important to me as an African American woman, but are also equally important to those that are experiencing some of these things within their own community. Like, comment, subscribe, and tap that notification bell, because I want to keep bringing you guys videos, and I want you to keep watching and keep continuing to grow. Peace and light to you. It's your girl Tree the LPC. This has been another episode of Self-Aware and Fucked Up. I said fucked up because this episode is really about some fucked up shit. I always try to keep the F out of it, but we here. Body on my list, she hits him with that deadly silence, dropping bodies like the virus. You might think that she's psychotic or maybe a little violent, but I bet that you won't try me if you ever dare to cross me. I don't play, she don't play. OMG, I think she's lost it. I found it, and I promise you ain't seen the last of me. We making futures history like a